and they would will ask, can you give me something 50,000, 10,000, 100,000? So when I go and give out a half a million or a million, mostly it's sometimes you fundraise from friends who are courteous enough, or even you, or any sometimes. So these are individuals,
but Senator,
and you know, it depends with the type of friends you have.
Senator Newton?
You know, I'm very worried with the way Senator Cherargei is misleading listeners. When you say that, you know, he doesn't want to tell us exactly where does this money come from. Okay. He says that you cannot audit fundraisers. We are not talking about the fundraisers. We are talking about the sources of the contributors. This person who has contributed 20 million in 1 week, exactly where? And they're in government. Exactly where does that person... I didn't interrupt you.
No, sorry, I'm also asking so that I can answer.
Listen, you'll get your time to ask.
Okay.
You said so many things, some of which are not even relevant to the discussion that we are having here, including telling us what government is doing. I mean, we are talking about fundraising. But so, you know, he wants to interrupt my line of thinking. So what we are raising is, we know the president is paid a salary of about 1.4 million Kenya shillings in 1 month. Well, he can be in business. That is not a problem. But then, if he can contribute 20, 40 million in 1 week, I mean, would he be, you know, open and transparent enough to, you know, to show that this is what I earned from my chicken farm, this is what I withdrew from this particular account, and these are my KRA returns, you know, showing that actually this is what I earned, and this is what I paid. For transparency's sake, you know, any businessman can make those contributions without anybody asking too many questions, because this is not somebody who holds public funds or who controls public funds. Why we are asking about the sources is because the people who are doing this are people who are appropriating public funds. And that's why they should be transparent and tell us, I am Professor Abraham Kidure Kindiki. This is what I made from my business. This is what I made, I paid as tax. And that is why I withdrew this money. I withdrew from Kenya Commercial Bank. I withdrew from Cooperative Bank. And this is, you know, that trail. So that we may stop asking questions. Because if you are a leader, you must be accountable. You must be transparent. You must account and be transparent. You not see a CEO from a particular company coming to this particular empowerment, and so it cannot be a fundraiser, as Senator Cherargei wants everybody to believe. A fundraiser is a situation where everybody in the society is invited and they contribute according to their ability. And so Senator Cherargei is very economical with the truth. And when he says that there is no financial misappropriation that we have been able, those of us that are against this, that we have been able to put across. But how? You know, we know how this mischief is done. How is it done? Allocate more money or more funds to security agencies, because they are not, as by law, you cannot audit or question expenditure. There is what we call confidential, you know, like in Interior, Ministry of Defense, and that is where this money is coming from, of course. And by law, nobody will audit these funds because they are confidential.
And I think as a country, at times we shouldn't blame a thief for stealing. And the worst mistake we made is that we put the most seasoned thief and we made him the president of the country. Because look at NYS, look at Aurora and Kimoret Dam, look at how sleek those scandals were. Then if that guy is the head of the state, how sleek will the stealing be? Like, it gets slick and slick and slick, and catching them in the looting is very, very tough, because they use shell companies, they use pseudo accounts. So it's very, very tough to get them. And they've studied all the loopholes, because they've been stealing for years, and they've tried this sector, wakashikwa, wakajaribu hii sector ingine, wakasurvive. Then over and over, wanajua, oh, that's the best way, that's the best place to steal, because it's not audited. So over and over, they refine their stealing to a level that you can't even trace it. You can't even trace it back to them. You can't even follow the trail of the looting. So it's just a genius way. And having a PhD holder as president, you can imagine how creative he gets with those things. So you'll be complaining, yes, this and this amount is missing, but you can't trace it to a specific individual whom you can prosecute. There is this e-citizen thing. There is the education thing where schools are being funded, but they don't exist. They are ghost schools. It has not yet been solved. The president had never addressed it. But anyone who criticizes him on social media or any other things, those people he gets back to. So things that he knows he can get away with, he responds to. But things that he knows that hapa anaweza patikana, he never responds to. Because up to now, he's never talked about the ghost schools. Up to now, he's never talked about the e-citizen thing.
Senator Cherargei also played around with the question of 2,000 Kenya shillings. It was not 2,000 Kenya shillings for each member of this women group. It was 2,000 Kenya shillings, according to that particular media report, shared against 31 women. And so I think it's good to get the facts clear. The other thing that we must remind Senator Cherargei is that no empowerment. We have not seen any checks being issued. I mean, it's always in cash carried in bags. And you and me know that if you go to the bank today, your account, if you have to withdraw like 1 million Kenya shillings, you'll have to do a lot of paperwork and explain exactly what you want to do with that kind of cash. But they carry cash in bags, millions. And you'll find, like the deputy president, for example, you will find him, attend a particular empowerment program, then take a chopper, go to another place, contribute the same kind of money, 2-3 million, 2 from him, 2 million from 3 million from the president. I mean, just how do we get this cash? Can we get any trails this money come from? Because, of course, I mean, if I have some cash, I must have withdrawn it. Can we be able to get the banks from which they withdraw? Because we must be truthful to Kenyans who follow this, because Kenyans are smart and they know you cannot possibly be able to withdraw like 10 million Kenya shillings in a day from your account. And if that happens, there must be that trail. Then when Cherargei says that messaging is about unity, is about bringing people together in these particular programs, I mean, we have seen the messages. We have listened to the messages. The other day, the Speaker of the National Assembly was addressing some members. I don't remember which county, but was challenging the Kalenjin community members to protect the president because it is their son, and he is under threat from some other people, of course, referring to some other people. I mean, there's some other people referring to the people from the mountain and that kind of thing. And when Senator Cherargei again tells you that people are contributing as per their strength, it is not true. We have seen every member, just a minute, we have seen every member of parliament in that kind of in those gatherings. When it's 100, everybody is 100,000 Kenya shillings, 100,000 Kenya shillings. No. Most of them, most of them, depending on seniority. Of course, Kimani Ichung'wah will contribute more because he's senior, but for the ordinary members and the senators like us, it will be 100,000, everybody 100,000. Nimechanga 100. That kind of thing. So, but anyway, Dennis was asking something.
I've been attending those empowerment. So Kinyutu should be asking for point of information. No, he should be asking, because I have sat there. He has never been there. What he's consuming is through media. Personally, when we went to Lukuyani before he concludes his point, there are members who contributed 50, 20, 10. It is always good to be. He's saying I'm economical to truth, but he's making it worse. He is more scarce with the truth, because he should have been said. I agree there are amounts that the president and the deputy and maybe senior leadership, I agree with him. But on the issue of members giving, no, that is unfair, because I have been in the forums, even I was in Kisumu, I was in...
Where you have given like 10,000 shillings.
No, there are, of course, there is like MCAs, members of MPs, as he has said, I'm trying to clarify, because I have been there. He has never been there, unless he understands, he attends through the spirit. And unless, by the way, what media has done is to try and audit something that is not auditable. Because they are trying to show the country what the president has contributed, not what Senator Cherargei has contributed, which I found it odd. Because if they wanted to do proper audit, they should give up to the... Because when Senator Nyutu says it is only politicians who give money, he is lying. Because I've been there, even CBOs that we fundraise normally contribute to their own kitty. And then the way we share, we ensure that there is transparency and accountability. And what I suspect, because I saw that news story in one of your colleague media stations, they went and looked for a group that was not part of what we were fundraising for. I wish they would have gone to specific groups and asked us, the organizers. We did an Arambe in Lukuyane. You did an Arambe in Isiolo. You did an Arambe in Mombasa. Who are these groups? Then we can give them the groups, the names of the group. Then you go and audit, because we were in Muranga the other day. And we didn't get the contribution of the area senator. I think that groups that come from Muranga would also deserve even the small or the large amount that comes from their leaders to go to them. So finally, you had asked a question. I don't know whether
although he took it away from me. You know, you know, kindly, panel, I mean, our hosts, don't allow Senator Cherargei to escape. There are substantive issues that he should address. Exactly where is this cash withdrawn from? And because you are saying that people are just generous, it is important that you tell us. If I can be able, and it has been raised here, if I can be able to contribute about 10 million in a week, then of course I should be able to prove or to show the source of such funds. And if it is business that I'm engaged in, it should tally with my KRA returns.
So the Senate asked these questions. Sorry, Dennis, the Senate asked these questions. If a deputy president, because again, we did see the breakdown by one of our sister stations just the other day, and the question was, if in the last 2 months, about 5 billion shillings has already been used, if the deputy president on his own, and apart from everybody else who comes in and gives their 10,000, 100,000, whatever the case may be, where is this money drawn from? And are those questions for oversight from Senate? For example, in terms of where does the money come from? If I'm in Embu today, Tharakanithi the next day, Meru the day after that. Where does this money come from?
Can I have the first bite to the cherry? One, I want to say this. You remember when Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, governor, tried to pass the Arambe law? It never succeeded. Because how do you audit an Arambe? Which legislation provides for such? So what Senator Nyutu, and I want to make him popular in this country, is to bring a proposal, a legislative intervention on how you can regulate fundraising in the country. I remember Senator Cheruiyot tried to bring that law. Then your question will be answered, because if we have legislative forum, it will allow, who will use someone, for example, to appear before the Senate to oversight on the fundraiser that has been done. So in this no policy. And I wanted to answer quick before Dennis, you come. He asked something about confidential amount. When the GNC protest happened, the president directed that all confidential accounts be scrapped. And it was scrapped unless Senator Nyutu can give us evidence that confidential accounts still exist. You asked us, why were we doing this fundraiser? You remember when we tried to fundraise for the churches? The same individuals who are opposing government, including my brother here, said, why don't you go and fundraise for Mama Mboga and Boda instead of fundraising for the church? The church, God will take care of them. You remember the huge fight that we were being told, don't do, in fact, I appeared in one of the shows, one of the sister stations called Politics of Pulpit. We were being told, why are you going to church to fundraise, give 20 million? Why don't you look for groups? It is the same individuals who are accusing us. Why would you give to the church? Why don't you go to the road and do an Arambe? So I want to say, and then finally, you ask a question so that you come in, is so that I don't lose. You ask a question. Why are you doing fundraiser? Where is the development? Those forums we are using to explain our development agenda. Because when we went to the church, we were being accused of hijacking the pulpit. So we wanted to look for our own forum, a more organized forum to explain, for example, the issue of affordable housing, the issue of markets we are doing in Muranga, in all the sub-counties, even in Nandi, in Mandera, the issue of affordable housing we are doing here in Nairobi, the issue of roads, you have seen the dualling of Mau Summit, all the way to Eldoret to Malaba, the issue of Mau Mau roads we are doing. You remember the president talked about the Niti Bridge yesterday that the procurement has begun today. So we use those forums too, because you're asking, what about the balls, what about the schools, what about, we use those forums to explain to our people. But because in politics, if you allow vacuum, these guys who are like Sanbalats will go and mislead the public.